Hi everyone, a very good morning to you. Welcome to Barcelona. Here we are then for Ferrari Challenge. It is round 6 of our 2025 calendar, which has been and is an awesome calendar. And this the second of our playouts, if you will, in Spain, because we come here hot foot from Valencia. Here is our formal welcome to Barcelona, the Circuit de Catalunya. And I can assure you that round 6 thus far has proven to be a round to really enjoy for lots of very different reasons. Yesterday was a hugely dramatic race day and quali day as well. And we're about to get qualifying 2 underway for our Shell drivers, who will go out on track to set the best possible time they can for their race to come a little bit later on today. Here is the track then. Something very, very technical for our drivers to get the best out of, and they did so yesterday. They'll be hoping to do the same today. It was victory in the race yesterday in Trofeo Pirelli for somebody who's had a very dominant season in the Ferrari Challenge, certainly for the first part of the Ferrari Challenge, and yeah, that was Felix Herziger. For the AM drivers, it was points leader Hendrik Viol. And there you can see all the drivers that will be taking part in qualifying, including Rafael Duran and Felix Herziger. Michael Verhagen, who had a kind of a quiet day by his own standards yesterday. Nobuhiro Imada, who was brilliant yesterday in Pirelli AM. Let me explain to you that the Pirelli AM drivers have a white strip across the top of the windscreen, and our Pirelli drivers have a red strip across the top of the windscreen. That's how you can identify the two classes that compete in the same race and in the same Trofeo Pirelli block, if you will, as we look at Franco Girolami, who is driving the number 72 car. Now, Franco Girolami is driving the Radici Automobili Sanassi racing car, which has also been graced by the likes of Enzo Trulli and Gianmarco Marzioletti over the course of this season. So a car that's being used by a number of celebrities, if you will, as Danilo Del Favaro, who has now adopted a race suit which entirely encapsulates the camouflage livery across his 296 Challenge car, as Hendrik Viol is wished good luck from his Scuderia Prague team. He, of course, Trofeo Pirelli AM head honcho at the moment. Nico, good morning.
Good morning, and good morning everybody here. Welcome to Trofeo Pirelli qualifying. Getting underway here in the morning on the Sunday here at Barcelona. It's slightly overcast, which means it's not as hot as it was yesterday or even the days before. Gilles Ramman getting some assistance in final stages of preparation. The first 90 seconds or so have ticked off the clock. There is Jasin Ferati, who put the car on pole yesterday by almost a full second. Wasn't able to replicate that in the race because he had to surrender the lead on turn 1 and wasn't able to get on terms with Felix Herziger. Banked good points, but I believe there is a 2-point gap between P1 and P2 in Trofeo Pirelli, so all still to play for, but that reinforces the fact that the extra point that you get for pole position can be oh so crucial and extra important in this championship race, because we have this race or this day today with 1 race plus 2 more in Spa and then 2 more races at the World Finals, and then we will know who will be our champions in Trofeo Pirelli and Trofeo Pirelli for 2025 in Europe. As you said, Hendrik Viol leads the championship in Trofeo Pirelli AM, was runner-up in the championship last year to Klaus Brunson after a season-long battle between the two of them. Great and respectful racing, and the same this year. Klaus Brunson not part of the championship this year, but Hendrik Viol has his fair share of other competitors. Michael Verhagen, just one of them.
Another one is Marco Zanassi, who had really, really good form earlier on in the season, but it seems to have dropped away a bit, over the last couple of events. And fair enough, there is Marco Zanassi, who will be hoping to get back onto the form and the pace that we know that he is capable of, and chase down. And David Gosner and he, it's almost as if they were in a race then, as they were side by side. But Marco Zanassi, then the Motor Service Panetti Motorsport driver, being usurped by David Gosner initially as they make their way around this track in this qualifying session. So we have both Pirelli drivers and Pirelli AM drivers out at the same time. What is normally the case is the drivers will go out on a set of scrub tyres from yesterday, get everything up to temperature and get their eye in, more importantly than anything else, before they will come in, put a new set of Pirelli P0s on the car, and then set what they hope will be quick laps. Max Mugelli for CDP Eureka competition finished P4, if memory serves me, yesterday. And he's out on track right now, chasing Hendrik Viol. We've got a lot of drivers out there on track, to be fair, in the early stages of this qualifying, which isn't always the case. Oftentimes, drivers will leave it until later in the session before going out, as we ride on board now with Hendrik Viol, has allowed Max Mugelli to come through. Drivers certainly don't deliberately impede other drivers that are on hot laps, but you can't just make your car disappear. And Hendrik Viol doing the right thing then and allowing Max Mugelli to go through. I think Max on a quicker lap. Angelo Fontana momentarily has gone to the top of the chart, but he's 1:47.773, set on a set of scrub tyres from yesterday, so we are expecting the times to come tumbling down over probably the second half of this qualifying session rather than this part of qualifying. It's not absolutely impossible that drivers will have gone out on a new set straight away, and it has happened in the past and it can happen now. And truthfully, unless we had a camera bolted to the side of every car, we wouldn't be able to ascertain. Max Mugelli certainly looking quick right now as he heads towards breaking the timing beam with a 1:46.663. Otto Blank has gone fast as well for the AM drivers. Here's Marco Zanassi, though, who I think, if he's not impeded, will set the fastest time thus far for the AM drivers. Let's see, Marco Zanassi then vault from P11 in class to P1 in class with a 1:44.8. But that time has been taken away, I think probably because of track limits. So here we can see in replay Marco Zanassi, but his 1:44 time has been taken away because he exceeded the track limits somewhere on the lap, and that's what happens with the track limits penalties in qualifying. So that effectively means a really, really quick lap from Marco Zanassi, and the investment on achieving that through the tyres means that that's completely and totally wasted, because the time has been taken away, Nico.
Yes, indeed, and we've seen that become a problem in the qualifying yesterday. Now, as you said, we expect the drivers to be on yesterday's tyres, but that banker can be also valuable if things don't go according to plan, and that has happened more than once. David Gosner's last time did not run afar of the track limits, was a 1:46.290, so second and a half slower than what the Marcus Zanassi time would have been, but it counted, and as you can see, David Gosner is getting ever quicker. Angelo Fontana, also an AM driver, currently quickest with a 1:45.719. Just as a reference, pole time in Pirelli was a 1:41 yesterday, and David Gosner was setting pole time with a 1:42.480, so we're still quite a bit away from that currently.
So the best pole time obviously coming from a Pirelli driver, the best Pirelli AM time, as Nico's just indicated, came from this man, David Gosner, who goes fastest of anyone right now, but is immediately usurped by Hendrik Viol and Angelo Fontana. Here's yesterday's race winner, Felix Herziger. Back to winning ways. Yesterday he slides the car through that turn. His Sector 1 was a good Sector 1. We'll take a look at the cumulative time. He's 1.913 down on the best time thus far. So Felix Herziger on a good trajectory here. Gilles Renmans at the moment is the best of our Pirelli drivers. Max Mugelli, second best of our Pirelli drivers. I remind you, Pirelli drivers with the red strip across the top of the windscreen, Pirelli Am drivers with the white strip, and that's reflected those colour schemes on the graphics on the left-hand side of your screen. Angelo Fontana, however, quickest of anyone, irrespective, but that has just been altered by Felix Herziger, who delivers a 1:44.496.
Yeah, Felix Herziger was very dominant after Monza for 5 races in a row, then was unseated by Vincenzo Scarpetta, and then Jasin Ferati's strong phase started. And for Felix Herziger, I think it was very, very important, not only for points, but also psychologically to reverse that trend and get that race win yesterday. So, as we already said, just 2 points between our top front runners in Trofeo Pirelli, all to play for the championship.
Marco Zanassi now for the Pirelli Am drivers. Providing he's kept it all within the white line. Sector 1, purple. Sector 2, purple. This could be another brilliant lap from Marco Zanassi. Critically, he needs to keep it within the white lines as he crosses the timing line right now. Marco Zanassi goes P1 with a 1:43.809, and that time is not taken away. So it counts. Marco Zanassi goes to the top of the chart. His team, you can see there, Panetti Motorsport. As we take a look at the number 17 car, which is about to go out there on track. And that's the 27 car, 17, Rafael Duran. Rafael, of course, races in the Ferrari Challenge along with Alberto Duran as well. And we're watching David Gosner right now, who's been relegated to P2 in class, P3 overall. Marco Zanassi has gone quickest within class, and actually quicker than Felix Herziger, quicker than any driver, in fact. And we've got 19.5 minutes remaining in this Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli and Pirelli Am qualifying. Now, the times that the drivers set, whether they're a Pirelli Am driver or a Pirelli driver, actually is academic, because they will line up and they will grid up in the order that they finish qualifying in. So, and it's not unheard of for a Pirelli Am driver to take a pole position and be ahead of a Pirelli driver. And David Gosner, he's not going to do it on this lap because he's bailed the lap because of track limits. He knows he's done that and therefore has bailed the lap and will go again. And this is where it went wrong for him. Oh yes, there was a no question there that he slid the car over the white line, and he's brought the car into the pit lane right now. So we're getting close to halfway through this qualifying session for Pirelli and Pirelli Am drivers. Gilles Renmans currently P2 in class. Björn Grossman P4 in class. Dylan Medler P5 in class. Franco Girolami, the Radici Automobili Zanassi racing driver, is 6th in class. I was looking at the Pirelli drivers. Still to post times are the likes of Jasin Ferati, Quinn Wiedlisbach, Nobuhiro Imada, Anna Luskovsky and Vincenzo Scarpetta in terms of banking or putting out their meaningful times. Just as I say that, Quinn Wiedlisbach is on his way out of the pit lane. This is the Andrew Morrow car. See, the RPM Motorsport door is open. There's Andrew's father, just offering some drink to Andrew. So the new Pirelli is going on to the side of that car. And Johnny Kane is Andrew's driver coach. You can see him there just having a word with Andrew. One of the most quiet, unassuming, but very, very lively racing drivers in the Ferrari Challenge.
Yeah, and he finished P4 just off the podium in class yesterday. Good showing from him. Didn't have it all his own way this season, but strong showing. Didn't see a lot of him during the race, in fairness. Lots of things going on around him, but he kept it cool, calm, talking about someone who generally figures in our program because he gives us lots of reasons to look at him and his car. Is Hanno Luskovsky.
He finished well yesterday also. And Hanno Luskovsky, we're running the telemetry on, is in 4th gear right now at very nearly 200 kilometers per hour before changing into 5th gear. On the brake, try and kiss the apex if you can. He was just a little way away from that, but He's accelerating away now is Hanno Laskowski for ML Ferrari Racing. Down through the gearbox, on the brakes, kissed the curb perfectly on that occasion, down to second gear. And now up through the gearbox, then increasing the speed. And there we can see the Hanno Laskowski car from a different angle. Whoa, clattering across the curbs in a style that is reminiscent of Hanno Laskowski, if I may be honest with you, and provides great images for us to talk about. Under the bridge. This is a difficult part of the circuit where you just gradually climb uphill, but this left-hander seems to go on forever. And you accelerate, and then you have to start railing in the speed again for the right-hander, and then it's a downhill stretch all the way to the conclusion of the lap. And Hanno Laskowski with a personal best and an overall best across Sector 1 and Sector 2. This is quite quietly for Hanno's style going to be a very, very good lap, and propels him from P4 to P2 in class. So well done, Hanno Laskowski. There is Marco Zanassi, you can see in the split shot, but Hanno Laskowski then, driver of car number 85, has gone second in class. And Nico, that's P3 overall as Franco Girolami goes to the top of the chart with a P1, a 1:43.311.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting how the dynamic and the strategy from the teams will be revealed and unveiled over the next few minutes. Franco Girolami had a terrible end to the race yesterday, was on a podium trajectory all the way into the final lap, and then something let go and he had to park the car, and that meant that what was a podium position almost became a P very far down the order. So he will hope to rectify that. Hanno Laskowski is pushing again, and first sector was an improvement personally and quicker than Franco Girolami's time at that stage. So let's see. It's going to be interesting. Is Hanno Laskowski on yesterday's tyres? Is he on a fresh set? He finished the race in P5, and there you can see it's only 5/1000ths of a difference compared to the Marco Zanassi time. Because this difference here on our graphics is always difference in class. We can see from our timing screen that he's on par with Franco Girolami, as Quinn Wiedlisbach just put in the second quickest time overall. We just saw him come out of pit lane just 3-4 minutes ago.
What is going on with Jasin Ferati? Jasin Ferati, Nobuhiro Amada, both finishing well in the race yesterday as Hanno Laskowski goes P1 with a 1:43.272, 3 100ths, very nearly 4 100ths quicker than Franco Girolami. Hanno Laskowski, P1, way to go, friend. He's from Berlin, and he's a great, great character. Here comes Franco Girolami then trying to usurp Hanno Laskowski. We've got 13.5 minutes remaining. Do you think this is a strategy from ML Ferrari Racing in terms of holding Jasin Ferati? He's now on his way out of the pit lane, Nico.
Yeah, maybe he just decided that using yesterday's Pirelli P0s, there is no point in that. So we will see. Sometimes we see drivers who had an incident during the race where they feel like, okay, you know, the tires were somewhat compromised. They skipped the first half of the session. That wasn't the case for Jasin Ferati, but I mean, we saw it last year with ML Ferrari Racing and Giacomo Alto, and we saw it already this year, how efficient the team can be, and just absolutely relying on their driver to maximize the time. Just go out once, out lap, warm-up lap, 2 quick laps, come back into the pit, celebrate pole position. It sounds so easy, but ML Ferrari Racing and their drivers have made it work on a number of occasions. So interesting to see how that develops from here. Quinn Wiedlisbach P2, stays P2. Franco Girolami has gone quickest once again and has edged Hanno Laskowski by less than a tenth. So the battle between the Pirelli and the Pirelli AM drivers is one in itself.
You can see Martin Habas there talking to Stefano Guy, saying he's very, very confident for the race. The Scuderia Prague driver engineered and by that fine team from Prague and driver coached by Stefano Guy. Quinn Wiedlisbach currently second fastest in Pirelli, third fastest overall. Franco Girolami, P1. Then it is Laskowski. So Pirelli driver, Pirelli Am driver, P1 and P2 in qualifying thus far. Here comes Björn Grossman then. A lot of traffic out there. He gets by the Marco Sanasi car, and Björn Grossman's on a good lap here. The driver for BI Corsa Octane 126. He knows a thing or two about winning. He knows a thing or two about catching the curb, and that probably has upset his rhythm a bit, but he recovers from that. And let's see how much that cost in the final sector for Björn Grossman as he heads towards the final turn. Accelerates out of that now, and will cross the timing beam for Björn Grossman. It is a P1, a full 2.5 tenths quicker than anybody else. In fact, the only driver to put it into the 142s, a 142.934. Björn Grossman back to his best.
Back to his best. Still expect more from him, actually, because I think this was his first flying lap, and we're still a second or so away from yesterday's pole time. Wouldn't be surprised if he continues in his purple ways, but as you could just see from that shot, traffic is now intense. All but 2 cars are out on the track, so finding a clean track is going to be a challenge. Björn Grossman, first sector, purple again, 10.5 quicker than his previous best attempt. Many other drivers showing personal best, but as we said, this clear track with 22 cars, or 21 right now, is difficult to find, and that's where the teams really play an important role, setting their drivers up with track space to the best of their abilities. Hendrik Viol, P2 in class, is P4 overall, leapfrogs Marcus Zanazzi and Andrew Murrow and moves up into P4 overall. And to the delight, even though you couldn't see it really from that shot, the Scuderia Prada team, great team, been around in the Ferrari Challenge for so many years. And the evocative livery of the Hendrik Viol car. There is Andrew Morrow.
And he was on an improvement trajectory there, as you can see, with personal bests across Sector 1 and Sector 2. Then got perhaps caught up by the David Ghost in the car. Whether that will have impacted his final sector. The Charleshurst driver, Andrew Morrow, who Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli champion in the UK when he made his debut in his second year, if you like, of Ferrari Challenge racing. He won that championship in the UK, and he is a very, very good driver and is currently 4th fastest in class. Fastest in class is Hanno Laskowski. Hendrik Viol is trying to do something about that right now as we ride on board the Scuderia Prague driver. You can see the Delta pink on the dashboard of his car, so Hendrik knows that he is improving. And Hendrik knows that if he can keep pushing here, it will send him to the top of his category. You can see the team watching on, almost willing him to do that. To the very left of the picture was Adam, the team members in Scuderia Prague, as Hendrik Viol then continues around the final turn, accelerates away now. He needs to do better than a 1:43.272. He does better than anybody else on track by half a 5 tenths. He has delivered a 1:42.766. So 5 tenths better than Hanno Laskowski, and actually better than any other driver out there on track, Nico. He has gone P1.
Overall, indeed. Björn Grossman, Franco Girolami, quickest of the Pirelli drivers for now, both in the pits. Actually, the top 3 Pirelli drivers are currently in the pits with Quinn Beachelsbach as well. Others are pushing, and one of them is Max Mugelli, who we see here, 2 personal bests, and he's approaching the final turn. Max Mugelli with some great moves back in Valencia. Look, jolly pleased with that. And P9 for the moment, not satisfactory. P4, a bit more like it. But still, P4 in class is still P9 overall, so he will look to go again and improve further. There is Gilles Renman, P8 in class, and he's approaching the timing line, looking to get better. And
whoa!
That
big sideways moment for Nobuhiro Imada, I think it was, Nico. Forgive me interrupting you, but it was a big save from him, and that happened just as Gilles Renman was crossing the timing line, which meant I really rather stole your thunder for the 1:42.405, but I rather thought that it could be all sorts of strife for Nobuhiro Imada, but he saved the car and did a good job in so doing.
Oh, for sure. Henrik Viol, he is currently P2 overall, P1 in class. Don't think this will be an improvement. He is subject to challenges from the likes of David Gosner, also Felix Hirziger, buried down in P16 overall, on his way up and forward. Good first 2 sectors. Jasin Ferati for the moment still fairly lowly, and 6.5 minutes sounds like a lot, but with this traffic, it can be over fairly soon, and everybody hopes that all the competitors keep it on the track. The last thing anybody wants now is an intermission, a yellow flag, or anything worse.
Here comes Felix Hirziger then, purple sector 1, purple sector 2. He's got traffic all around him. Angelo Fontana right behind him. Here comes Felix Hirziger as he crosses the timing line now and goes P1. The times are coming tumbling down right now, but by minuscule margins. So Felix Hirziger unseats Gilles Renman by 1 1/4 tenths. Felix Hirziger, P1 provisionally. Where is Jasin Ferati? He's way down the order. It's P9 and it's P18 overall. We pick up Jasin Ferati, who needs to improve, and he's running out of time to be able to do that. Let's take a look at Sector 1. He is very nearly 3 tenths up. So Jasin Ferati, the ML Fry racing team have worked really hard with Jasin here in finding him track space out there. He's got clear tarmac ahead of him. He will not be impacted or affected by any other cars in front of him. So Jasin Ferati, he's got Felix Hirziger right up his trumpet. Felix Hirziger could get the benefit of a little draft off the back of the Jasin Ferati car. This is extraordinary in Trofeo Pirelli qualifying between these 2 drivers. You can see both of them pushing and pushing and pushing. So it was Felix Hirziger that took victory yesterday. You can hear the Pirelli tyres squealing in protest as they take everything out of them. Jasin Ferati, better than anyone, personal best across Sector 1, Sector 2. Felix Hirziger, Sector 2, he lost a little bit of time because he was sliding. Jasin Ferati, P9, Felix Hirziger, P1. I seem to think that as Jasin Ferati heads towards the timing line, as Felix Hirziger has got to track limits, Jasin Ferati does cross the timing line, having lost a significant time, but still going P1 with a 1:42.031. So he took 2.5 tenths out of Felix Hirziger, but he will feel that he's still got more, and that's where Felix Hirziger lost out because of track limits.
Yeah, great to see those 2 effectively head-to-head in tow, and Jasin Ferati, the winner of this round in the heavyweight fight for Trofeo Pirelli's supremacy here in Barcelona. There is the ML Fry Racing command post, if you will.
And Quinn Wiedlisbach, I can see to the very right-hand side of the picture, is out of the car.
Yeah, he's out of the car. He effectively made his stint right in the middle where everybody else was in the pits. He only came in for 1 stint, and or came out for 1 stint rather, and that probably wasn't the perfect strategy, but he's down in P14 overall, which is P7 in class. Now, first sector on this time around was not blisteringly quick from either driver, but neither was it extremely slow. I think these sector times reflect that. We've seen both of those drivers being very efficient and very smart, not necessarily going all out to take that pole position, but rather bank and make sure that they have the tires in perfect working order. Even though Hirziger is in P2, I wouldn't be shocked if he decided to come in. Jasin Ferati definitely comes in. Hirziger goes again.
Well, Ferati comes in having only done 5 laps. Now compare that to Felix Hirziger, who's done 9, and Gilles Renman, who's done 10 laps. The most laps of anyone out there came from David Akabadzi, one of our Pirelli Am drivers, who's done 12 laps. So Jasin Ferati feels that conservation of rubber is important. Marco Zanassi feels that setting the fastest lap for the Am drivers is important, and he's going again. He's done 11 laps. In comparison to the man that is top of the chart for Pirelli Am drivers, Henrik Viol, who's done 1 lap less, but he is in the pit lane, so he's not going around the circuit there. As far as Scuderia Prague are concerned, Henrik Viol has done enough, Nico, and will remain P1 for the Am drivers.
Yeah, I mean, there are still drivers pushing, Michael Verhagen being one of them. He's currently in P3, and obviously Marco Zanazzi. But I think, you know, the teams have a good understanding of what the track is able to afford, and the progression of the tires is able to afford to the drivers. So, and I think that is Marco Zanazzi no longer at qualifying pace. And I think they have a good feel for that. There is Michael Verhagen, who is still going quick, but don't think that. No, I think he's bailed the lap, and Felix Hirziger, I also don't think is.
I think we've seen all the laps we're going to see, perhaps the exception of Björn Grossman here.
Yeah, he's still pushing. He came out again after being in the pits for some time. So, yeah, but like the previous time around, half a second lost in sector 1. He hasn't given up on that, but he would so dearly certainly love to at least overtake Hendrik Viol, even though he's an M driver. It would give him a row 2 start rather than row 3 where he currently resides. He would have to hold it together and not relinquish more than a tenth and a half, but I think that is a tall order.
Bouncing across the curves there, Björn, who is an immense talent in terms of racing driver ability, but he, I think, has probably achieved the max that he can achieve, because his sector times are not looking like he's on a big improvement. So with just 20 seconds remaining for qualifying for our Trofeo Pirelli and Pirelli AM drivers, I think we have our order, and it will be Jasin Ferati, P1, having only done 5 laps, just over half the number of laps less than Felix Hirziger, who will be on the front row of the grid with him. Here comes Björn Grossman. I do not expect this to be better than P4, and sure enough, it isn't. So, checkered flag is out. There's Christian Bertschinger, who's head honcho at Octane 126. And there goes Björn Grossman on his way back to the pit lane right now. Hanno Laskowski there. Big conversation going on with all the drivers. There is Andreas Koenig, and there's Hendrik Viol being congratulated by his team. He's done a good job for the AM drivers, Nico, with a 142.766. He is the best driver out there. Here's Felix Hirziger, who gave it his all, and the best that he could do was a 142.279. I'm talking minuscule margins between the drivers. 2.5 tenths between P1 and P2. It is a front row start for Felix Hirziger, which yesterday he made it work.
Yeah, he made it work. Now the 1 point for the pole goes to his competitor Jasin Ferati, so the battle for P1 is down to 1 point. And here is our pole setter in Trofeo Pirelli, and overall 142.031. We're quite a bit away from the times we had yesterday in Trofeo Pirelli and Pirelli AM, so maybe the track not quite as quick, or traffic just not right for the drivers, but Jasin Ferati won't care too much.
No, he's in discussion there about how he achieved that P1. He's done enough to start from pole position. What he needs to do is to make sure that he can maintain that P1 going into turn number 1, which is where Felix Hirziger got him yesterday. Herbert Guys and Danilo Del Fabro having a conversation there, and a great example there that we can show you of Danilo Del Fabro, who, as I say, has adopted a race suit now that is reflective of his car colours as well, and he was having a conversation there with Herbert Guys. There is Hendrik Viol. To his left is team principal of Scuderia Prague, Hendrik Ivo Horn. Jasin Ferati P1, Felix Hirziger P2, then it was Gilles Remmens. They were ahead of Hendrik Viol, Björn Grossman, Dylan Medler, a better quali from Dylan, Marco Zanassi and Michael Verhagen then occupy the first 4 rows. Then it'll be Franco Giro Lamy, David Gosner, Hanno Laskowski, Angelo Fontana, Nobuhiro Amada, big save during the course of that qualifying, and he is ahead of Quinn Wiedlisbach, Danilo Del Fabro, Herbert Guys, Max Mugelli, Andrew Morrow, Vincenzo Scarpetta, Rafael Duran, Otto Blank, David Akabadze, ahead of Martin Havas and Armin Arafpour. That is qualifying for Pirelli and Pirelli AM done. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye for now.